good. Pills are good. What movie?
I have no idea what that is. I don't know.
Pills are
beats me.
good. Pills are good.
There's no fucking telling. What
Dumb
that
and
is.
Dumber. When the dude was dead and they were trying to feed him a bunch of pills.
Oh.
And he was like
I don't even
trying to get
remember
his
that.
pills. And he goes, pills are good, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Pills
Oh.
are good. Pills are good. And then they look at him and like, they were feeding him what was
Rat
it?
poison?
Rat poison, yeah.
Yeah.
Check, please. All right,
That
let
is
me move
funny.
this.
I'm gonna put this up here where every motherfucker can see it.
Here,
That's good right there. I'll see that right there.
Today, ooh, this might be a little too loud. Nope, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Okay, we're.
He always,
I have a broke finger.
he always said, "Oh yeah, I forgot. We got to talk about your fucking finger when this is all said and done."
Well, I mean, we don't have to, but we can.
Oh yeah, we will. I know.
All right. It's,
I know.
it's good now. I mean, it still hurts like a mofo, but
Ugh,
it's
gross looking.
way back. Oh, dude, this is like, it's back to good. I mean, it hurts and it's still swollen and all that, you know, but it's not near what it was. But anyways,
how'd you break it?
I'll tell you in just a second.
You know what, dude? What's funny is he's like a freak about his hands and feet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure it's been bugging the hell out of him.
Well,
Yes.
when
yes.
it's as swollen as it was and it had so much pressure in the end, I was like, I might have to get this thing amputated.
Why
Like
don't
it
you
crossed my mind I would wake up in the next morning and it'd be too far gone.
Did you ever
We're at-
ice it or anything?
No, we were at the hotel and I was holding onto
Swelling.
the bed frame like and sticking my finger up when I was trying to go to sleep. I was like, for real. No joke. And then like I was showing it to everybody, all the parents and stuff on the team, you know, they're like, oh, everybody. Let me see your finger. 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 And I was like, here, you know. And they're like, oh, I think that's broken. And I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing I can do about it. So
And you know what they were doing? They were going,
what a weenie.
"Did you see Jason's dad? He's a big crybaby."
Actually, you know, when it happened, I just kept on going, man. I was, I'll tell the story real quick before we get going, and I'll just put this in the podcast, but here's a pre-story, okay? I was catching our pitcher. We were right before a game. I was warming him up, and beside me this way, like I'm going, you know, this way, and beside me there's some of our kids playing catch. So I'm catching, and I'm having to, you know, make sure I'm not going to get hit in the head with a baseball. I already had a headache, of course. You know, what else is new? And I'm like, I can't. This will send me over the edge. I'll like have to go back to the hotel or whatever, you know. I'm not going to do that, but I did not want a baseball to hit me in the dome. So I just lost, I guess, focus or whatever, and I guess I lowered my glove too much. And you know, I still use my catcher's mitt from when I was a kid. It's still not even broke in. So I take it to all the games and stuff, and I, you know, in between innings and stuff, if our catcher's still getting his gear or whatever on, I go out there and catch or you know, warm up the pitcher. So anyway, so the ball went, long story short, or long story longer, the ball went right over the glove and wham, smoked me right in the finger, of course, right on the end of it.
Dude,
okay?
that would suck.
And I heard it had a little snap to it, you know, but I don't think it broke. But it did sound like it, you know, it did, you know, and I was like, you know, and I just kept catching. He didn't even know. I just act like nothing happened.
Usually
Oh, that's not the end of the story, okay? When it went over and hit my finger, it boom, right into my balls. Okay? Okay? For real. And I already had a bad headache.
And you played all this off?
I played it all off.
The balls too.
Yes. I played it all off.
Man.
Well, I'm
You just
telling you,
kept squatting
I
like that never
I'm not
happened.
gonna let. I'm not
God,
let these kids,
dude.
you know,
See any
think
weakness?
anything other than what they think of me already. You know, they. I want them to think this guy. You know, I don't want to think that I'm not legit. You know, they probably already think that, but I don't want to think. Well, Ben cried. You know, Ben got hit in the balls and he
I'd have
cried.
been a little flustered. I don't know about crying.
Well,
I'd have probably just said, "All right, man, you look warm. We're gonna go on.
I
and
just
then
held
went
my
to the car.
composure. He didn't even know it till like later on that night after we won the game, and we're going to. There was no place in Weatherford that could take us in. Like they were all closing because our game got over late, and they were like, "No, we don't have room for 50 people because there was 50 of us total, parents and all, and." So we went and got food. All of us individually would go to get our own food and then bring it back to the hotel. And we would go into the kitchen area or the dining area and just hang out and eat in there and stuff, And so that's when I showed him. It was Cleet. It was Cleet Zyke. It was Coach Zyke's son. It was him, And I said, look what you did to my finger, And I showed him, and he was like, what? When did that happen? And I was like, oh, when I was warming you up, earlier before the game and all that. And he was like, no way. And I was like, yeah. So, yeah, I held my composure. I'm tough, okay? All right.
If you took a shot to the nuts after you did that, you definitely are tough.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt bad.
Yeah.
But I was like,
if it was
You just swallowed it.
yeah, I just swallowed it. I really did. I did, man. I did, for real.
that's tough.
And I think one of the dads saw one of the guys, friend of mine. He was sitting over there, and I think he saw, and he started laughing. At first, he was like, "Oh," and I was like, I just stared, dude. I just stared.
And then he got,
I was like, okay, that's stars, but it's daylight. I know that's not. So I just got back down. I threw him back the ball and got back down and just kept on catching. Meanwhile, my finger was throbbing, and something else was throbbing, and then something else was throbbing. So, anyways, it's all good though. We had a great time. We'll get to that in a bit. We'll talk about a little bit. We'll touch base on that a little bit. But let's get the podcast. Let's get this rodeo. Let's get this show on the road.
that was a windy road right there that you just went down.
I know. It's just a pre-story, to get you going again.
It's just a
yeah. And we'll start the podcast now. Have you come up with a new saying? Have you come up with a new intro? I mean, what have you been doing, bruh? You're about to drop the intro on us right here. I'm ready.
Working on vehicles is all I've been doing.
I'm ready for you to drop the intro right here, right now. Thanks for coming back, guys. I Don't Drink Coffee Podcast. I am the Ben Klein, and this is my co-host, Lucas Johnson. I'm his co-host, Ben Klein, as well. I just messed that all up. Well, I meant to...
It was fine.
you never say anything.
You should just roll with it, man.
I will. I'll cut that part out.
Oh, okay. It went good.
And our special guest, very special guest. I say that every time, very special guest, but this guy is very special to both of us.
Definitely.
Especially to the ladies in town.
Some will never know. Go Buffs.
The look on his face. He's like,
He's like, where are we going with this?
It's not going to work.
Anyways, his name is Gavin Johnson. Gavin Johnson. I've always said this to everybody that don't know him, or when I'm talking about him, I'm like, this dude is cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Thanks,
for
man.
real.
Appreciate it.
You literally have like maybe the best personality of anyone I've ever met on this earth. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. Like every time I'm around him, like I may try to rattle him a little bit, or I may try to, or I might crack some jokes or whatever, and he's just like, hey man, like the time that I said let's race. At Cason's practice. Well, it was your practice as well. Y'all were ending the practice, and I was like, dude, we need a foot race. And you're like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, okay, hang on a second. Now, I've got a bad headache today, and I shouldn't have just, challenged you in front of everybody, because I challenged you in front of Maisie. And
yeah, there was a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. And then, of course, I know what I look like. I look at, total.
We won't get into that.
Yeah. And I was like, gosh, dang it, man. Why not just race him then? I was like, well, shoes. And you're like, okay, I'll take my shoes off, I'm like, you got cleats on. That's right. I was like, you got. Anyways, Gavin Johnson. 88?
No, he's one now.
One. That's right. Did you change one last year? You were one last year, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You were 88 before.
Mm-hmm.
And why did you switch to one?
Well, when Maisie came in, he said the best guys on the team are getting single-digit numbers. So he made it like a competitive thing to where only the dogs get single-digit numbers.
Okay.
So I was
That's
like,
right.
yeah.
And this is for football.
Yeah.
And we're
And number one being the highest of the single digits.
the lowest number is the best number, right?
Of course, his old dad goes, well, then you're going after one, right?
Yeah.
You know?
It's the first thing he said.
And
Yeah.
what did you think you were going after?
I just was going to go for single-digit. I wasn't even really sure if number one's what I really wanted, just even for the aesthetic, but
Right.
then I was just kind of, thought to myself, why not? If I'm shooting for a single-digit number, why not do number one?
And you got it.
Yeah, and I got it.
And you still have it this year.
Yeah.
So far. Got to earn it again, I bet.
Oh, do you?
No, I'll have it.
Really?
Well, I know you'll have it.
100%.
Oh.
Yeah.
But do you have to earn it again?
Yeah, but I mean, I'll have it.
Right.
I like this.
See,
I
I'm
like
telling
it,
you,
yeah.
man.
You got to understand, since he was a little baby, okay? He's my firstborn son. So, we've been around each other a while now.
Word.
And one time, whenever he was in daycare in Wilburton, I was working towards Panola, just outside of Wilburton. And they called me at work one day from his daycare. And they were like, Gavin has went kind of like crazy. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, well, he went around and tore some stuff down off the walls and was acting crazy, jumping around, doing all
I
this
don't
stuff.
recall.
Yeah, you
record.
were like 4 years old. I mean,
Okay.
you're in daycare. You weren't even in school. And I was like, really? I mean, he wasn't a crazy kid or anything. I mean, he had his moments of being rowdy or whatever. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, we got to nip this in the bud. You know what I mean? The first thing I'm thinking is, we got to stop this. I got to show him that you can't be like that. So I show up being dad, go in there. He's in there doing his thing in daycare. I say, come with me to the parking lot. So he comes with me. We get in the truck. It's just hot outside. And we get in the truck, and I'm like, hey, man, they're saying that you were jumping around, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. You tore some stuff off the wall, throwing stuff and everything, tearing stuff down. Yeah. He's just sitting there kind of looking down. Yeah. I said, you did all that? Yeah. I said, I'm going to have to bust your butt because I was at work and they called me in from work to come deal with you because they couldn't get you to calm down. Okay. I said, you're going to have to get a busting with the belt. I've always been real big about, you can ask Gavin, explaining myself far and beyond what is necessary.
Yeah, it's even worse now.
Well,
since
but
I was 4.
Well, I mean, I'm always looking for an opportunity because he's about to turn 18
To teach.
to show him something. You know what I mean? That's, as a parent, that's the biggest thing you can do. I'm trying to show him how to be human beings. So, I'm looking for these opportunities every second of every day. Hey, there's, I've learned a whole lot of what not to do. So I'm trying to pass this stuff on. So, I'm like, all right, man, well, listen, you can't do this. So we're going to get it sorted out. So get out of the truck and I'm going to bust your butt. He's like, okay. Now, he wasn't like, all right, like it ain't no big deal. But, I mean,
He knew he had it coming.
Yeah, well, he was just kind of like, all right.
And he was okay with it.
Well, so I, pull my belt off, give him a couple of, he's 4 years old. So I give him some pretty good swats, enough to get his attention.
Mm-hmm.
Turn him around there, and he's just looking at me. He's not crying or nothing. And I got him pretty good. And I was like, and I didn't, this is going to take a lot longer to say than it did to do it. But I thought, maybe I didn't get his attention. I got to hit him harder so he knows not to, we got to remember. I need to give him something to remember. And like I said, this didn't take just a second. I hit him a couple of times and then he's just sitting there. And so I rear back and I give him a good one. I'm talking about, and I wasn't abusive to him, but I give him a pretty good one. And he teared up on me a little bit. And I said, now, I want you to understand something. I hate every second of this. I love you. But you cannot act that way. Okay. That's all he said. Took him right back in there. To this day. How many times you had a whooping in your life? That's about the only one. I've gotten mad at you, but I'm talking about where I physically busted your butt.
Not many.
Never again. And that's the thing about him. That's what I was trying to get to with the story is like he's always had that kind of he'll roll with it, but in his own way. You know what I mean? He rolls with most things. He's all right. You know, oh, all right, that's how it is, and that's how it is. You know, what I like about him, and I'm gonna brag on him for a second, is that he's always had this ability to be acceptable in a way, but still do it in his own way.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I never feel like he's compromising. Sorry, I'm talking about you like you're not here. Yeah. But I never feel like...
I can step out in the hallway.
But I always felt like he was... he's easy to be around in that aspect. You know what I mean? Where he's himself.
Right.
But he is also acceptable, without being too harsh about being yourself. I mean, I've known plenty of people, myself included, who wants so bad to be real, that you're abrasive and it's not enjoyable. I know it's not. It's one of the things I hate about my personality. So now I was glad that he doesn't get that. So pretty cool. He's all right.
Appreciate it.
He is. Gavin Johnson, you're going to be a senior this year, coming into your senior year, correct? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Turning 18 Wednesday, the 31st of July, 2020, right?
The 29th.
29th.
Oh, I thought you said 31st earlier.
No.
Okay.
No. But
where did I hear 31st that then?
Beats me.
I don't know.
I don't either. 29th.
That's the end of the month.
July.
I know that.
Right.
I'll definitely be 18 by then.
And so you play football, of course.
Yes, he'll still be 18 on the 31st.
Right. You'll still be 18. You play football for the McAllister Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Have the last, I don't know, forever,
all his life.
Just about.
Well, he's played since 6th grade in McAllister.
Didn't you play? You played a little bit at Hartshorn early on, right? Oh.
Started out in Hartshorn, then went to Savannah, and then
yeah, that's right. I did go to Savannah one year. Yeah.
Well, Savannah, because there was no league here, right? For his
there wasn't.
Right.
Yeah. And you're going to play basketball this year.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to run track this year too?
Probably, yeah. I'd say probably, yeah, definitely.
I was going to say.
Well, that's what we've talked about at length, and I don't try to make. He's about to be 18 years old, so
right.
I don't push him near like I used to as far as, well, what you need to do is this, what you need to do is that. I mean, I do that, but I mean, like him playing sports and those kind of things like that. I ask him, I'm like, are you going to try to play basketball or what? Because he didn't play last season, like his junior year, he didn't play basketball.
I missed him.
And well, yeah, I mean, forever and a day, it was always football, basketball, baseball. Whenever he was little, Of course, he got tired of that, but. I don't know. So, okay. Instead of interrupting.
No. Go ahead.
What position do you play for McAllister on offense?
Wide receiver.
What do you play on defense?
Outside linebacker.
Okay.
And most other phases of the ball.
Yeah, you're pretty much out there all the time, huh?
Yeah, most of it.
You got to earn it again this year. You can't go just assuming, but.
Yeah, we got some tough kick blockers on our team. See if I can still make it out there. I don't know. We'll see.
And how tall are you?
6'3", I think. Somewhere in there.
I think you might be a little taller than that.
You heard it first. Might be taller than 6'3".
6'3". Is anybody else in your family that tall?
You think football's that tall?
No.
No?
No, my dad's 6'2".
Then in that case, no, I don't think there is anybody taller than me in my family.
I was going to say, because you're pretty lengthy.
My mom's family has some tall people. You know what I mean? Like her brothers they're all 6'1", 6'2", like that. But some of her uncles were well over 6 foot. Well, that's where I'm related to, like Bubba Mathis and Lance Mathis.
Oh, okay.
Is on my mom's side of the family.
Gotcha.
And those people that make us related were tall. Like Bubba's tall. Was he 6'4", 6'5", something like that. And, yeah, so like that's where we think Gavin might have got his height from.
All right. So you guys have already started practice.
I would Summer Pride.
You haven't started official practicing,
well,
right?
I mean, yeah, just depends on what
you've been doing. Summer Pride,
yeah,
and you're off.
With integrated practice, like we're like starting to kind of rehearse some of the plays over again, stuff like that, and just kind of refreshing everybody. Picking up where we left off, putting in some new stuff, Can't talk about all of it.
Right. Or
Never
any
know.
of it.
Well, and one thing I'd like to point out is they did a pretty good job, Coach Maisie and a lot of the guys, about giving them workouts whenever all the COVID stuff was at its height.
Yeah.
Here a couple of months ago, about you can do these things to stay in shape. Here's a workout to do, kind of to keep them from falling too far behind. I mean, motivation runs a little bit low whenever there's not a coach up there standing there going,
Right.
get it done. But Gavin was pretty good about
Well,
doing his
especially
workouts.
when it looks like it's not going to happen.
No, but
at the time.
But
Yeah.
you got to understand.
You
You got to understand. In our household, we still to the last minute.
Well, I agree.
I never looked
know-
at it like there wasn't going to be a football season.
right.
I don't let that.
But
that,
there has to,
that
but there's
enter my
something.
mind.
There's something deep down in your mind that had to think, or there had to be something in there that said, you know what? No,
Not for me.
you were never scared.
I had some doubts
Ask
in the
Gavin.
beginning.
I mean, I was always like, whenever this is over, you're going to be right back in the middle of it.
Well,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
and
Well, he was saying to
that's-
prepare.
Yeah,
for the likes,
right.
You know.
Well,
Yes,
I
definitely,
did
for
say
sure.
you'd rather be ready than
Yes.
not ready. If it
Yeah.
doesn't happen, you're still going to be in good shape.
Right.
You're going to need that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess on that end of it, I was like, because I can't second guess anything anymore. Who
Right.
knows what's going
Right.
to happen?
Yeah.
So
And it's not up to you if they have a
Right.
season or not. If it were, then yeah, you would have no doubts. But when when it's not up to you and you see all these crazy things going on, it's like, how could we have a football season?
I did not think of it that way. I was like, I'm ready for this to be over with so that we can get on with football season. I don't know what I would have done if the OSSAA would have came out and said, we're not going to have football season in Oklahoma this year, or we're pushing it back to spring. I don't think that wouldn't have worked for me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I would have just bitched a lot. I'll just put it that way.
Right.
I'd have complained and complained and complained.
Well, I would have too, but I kept seeing the writing on the wall that was going to screw us out of a football season.
Well, but Oklahoma is one of the states, though, that's really pushed opening back up. And hey,
Well,
let's
that's
do
true,
it.
but you have these bigger schools, these bigger cities that they have a little different outlook on everything than we do.
Yeah.
We're just living our best life, basically. Then you hear about these other cities and stuff, and they're
Altus had a really bad outbreak. I saw in the news not too long ago.
yeah, going
What
crazy.
Was it,
So
wasn't it
it's whatever.
Panama called their season off for this
yes,
year?
by baseball, yeah.
I thought it was football season.
I don't know. I don't know
Anyway,
about that.
well,
I
and
think all sports maybe. But anyways, that is the kind of stuff that made me have that made me have doubt. Is because I was like, gosh, we need to have a football season.
Oh yeah, all I've heard from you is, well, it may not happen. Probably won't
And
happen.
I hate
Ain't
being
gonna
that
happen.
person. It's not
I
that
hate
it's
being
not,
that person.
But but it's not me being that person that is like saying, well, maybe we don't need to have a football season. Not at all. My thing is what other people are going to do to make us not have a football season.
Well, I just don't want to project that thought
Well,
with anybody.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. And I wish I could be that way. And I usually am. I'm usually like, no, not going to happen.
Well, when
but like
people-
you said, you can't. I mean, you can't second guess anything.
No.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is like when people go,
You gotta
well,
second guess
you-
everything.
Do you
Yeah.
think there's going to be a football season? I'm like, yes. Well, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, just because I
Yeah.
don't want to project, an idea in somebody's head and them go, well, Lucas is never thinking there's probably not going to be a
Well,
football
I
season.
can't imagine Kaysen having to miss his 5th grade season. Okay.
All right.
And at the
Tack.
same time, really, it wasn't his 5th grade season that was on my mind. It was your senior season. It really was. It was Gavin. But I didn't want Kaysen to miss his 5th grade season.
Yeah.
That was scary. But he's still got 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th to play.
Well, yeah, you're talking
This
about-
is your senior season.
This is the culmination of 10 years of play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
Exactly.
mean, Gavin's been playing since he was 8 years old. And that was something that, for me, when you're talking about, man, I have a season, that's why it hits me in the gut because, all this time.
I know. I didn't even like bringing it up to you because I know that you're
We know
like,
where I'm at with it. I'm like this. They're not doing that.
And I feel the same way. I do. I feel the same way. I really do. It's weird because, when this all started, And they were like, well, we may not go back to school right after spring break. And I'm like,
And I was like,
what?
no, that. Hey, I left during spring break. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, this is stupid. I'm leaving.
And that was nothing compared to what we saw. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't get just one extra week off of spring break is kind of what they were saying. Well, maybe, towards, whatever, a couple weeks or whatever.
Come back.
It was
whenever. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Here we are, still not back.
And by the time I got back from our spring break trip, I was like, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. I was kind of tripping out.
And we've seen just about everything happen that we never thought would happen in the last several months.
That's why I say I can't second guess. You know what I mean? To say, well, everybody knows better than to not have a football season I can't say that with a whole heart because crazier stuff than that's already happened.
Right. CrossFit McAllister, you can't, before we couldn't have anything like our jersey fitting and all that for the youth. We couldn't do it at school. We couldn't do it at, how they always do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't go to any school facilities whatsoever. So we had to have a jersey fitting here at CrossFit McAllister. And it was awesome. It was a great turnout, I thought. I know the 6th grade's got a huge team. They have like 30 kids, I think. And our team's going to be much bigger. Now, I think 4th grade and 3rd grade, and this was a couple weeks ago that I last checked or last heard, I think they were kind of struggling to make a team, I think. But as far as 5th grade and 6th grade, I mean, we're going to have the most kids we've ever had. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we get too far away from football, I want to talk about real quick that they have a different schedule than they've ever had coming up.
Oh, let's talk about it.
They're going to play some different teams.
Any of them stick out in your mind? Any of them that
well, you've met some.
You guys are excited about playing, or?
Well, they took away the Ada game.
No Ada?
No, I think we're still playing Ada.
I thought they jumped down a class and y'all weren't going to play them.
No, I think we play them as a preseason game. I can double check.
Oh, a preseason game.
Yeah, I think that's how we're getting it in still.
Oh,
okay. It's not going to be you're not going to do a.
Not on the.
No
district.
POTAC. That's gone.
It's still POTAC. Just that doesn't count for a season record, like playoffs.
Oh, okay. I got
record.
you. Gotcha.
And which it's been because of I attribute it to oil field and that kind of thing in Oklahoma. The population of these towns have changed a lot over the years, and the loss of that game, as far as McAllister and the rivalry between McAllister and Ada, it's unfortunate because it used to drive a lot of the, I guess you'd say, the football spirit or whatever in this town. I know for sure when my cousin played up here, it was a huge thing. You know what I mean? Like the whole season kind of revolved around that game. So even if it didn't, even if one team was bad and the other team was good that year, it was always a big deal no matter what. So I hate it. What did you look it up? Did you look to see?
Find it.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys play. Who do y'all play? Shawnee is one team that you played that you haven't played before.
We played Broken Bow my freshman year. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, we playing Broken Bow this year. I think that's our first preseason game is Broken Bow.
And that's at the end of August, right? I think.
Yeah.
I keep saying that. It just seems right.
So preseason game starts the end of August.
Yeah.
Not your season.
Yeah,
it's technically our season. It still goes on a record on Max Preps. It's still on a record.
Okay.
Those games are, yeah.
Gotcha.
I was thinking September 5th seems like the first game. I have to look it up.
I think you might be right.
That seems like September 5th because I remember right after the start of September is whenever the first actual game
Don't
was.
quote me on any of this. I don't have a schedule on
Well, that's what. And that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to remember some other
go
towns. Who else do you guys play that you can remember off the top of your head?
Bishop Kelly, Will Rogers. Huh?
Sorry about that.
He's drinking water in the middle of the podcast like it's something to do.
Yeah, Shawnee.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Shawnee, who's dropping down from 6A2. I can't remember.
I'm kind of excited about this new schedule just because it's going to be. It's not that you always know what to expect because you guys play a lot of the same teams, but we don't have, or I say you guys don't have any background in playing them, so it's like I mean, I'm wondering how like the Shawnee team's going to be because
Yeah.
you talk to some people and they're like, no, they weren't good in 6A anyway, blah blah blah. And some people are like, oh, they're going to surprise you because they got a lot of kids that play.
Well, this
6A
is a
ball.
good year to
Yeah.
make changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and as far as from the standpoint of, I wouldn't care who they played as far as it's, they're against Gavin's senior year, so I'm gonna be hyped the entire time. Of course, Brandon keeps telling me that I'm gonna be like a blubbering mess or whatever, and I'm like, no, not till graduation, dude. I'm good until graduation. I might be a little rough in the last football game, but I mean, it's our entire lives are wrapped up in this last 10 years of football season. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of them end of an era thing, which and maybe not the end of football for Gavin, but like the end of that type of football. I mean, it's a weird thing to think about. This being the last one, but I'm excited about it, not sad. I'm like, because that's what I tell Gavin all the time. He's never been bigger, never been stronger, never been faster, never been had a higher football IQ than he has right now. I mean, there's all these things that's adding up to me being excited about seeing what he's going to be able to do.
At the beginning of Summer Pride, like the first, I want to say 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it was 2 weeks. We'd split up into 3 groups. One would watch film from the year prior, and we would, look back on other mistakes we made or things that we should recognize going forward, things that might not change with teams we play again this year that we need to recognize. And so that kind of helps you stay refreshed as far as, and we went over plays while watching the film, and
Right.
so I, kind of sit there and rehash everything, so you're not completely just working on like deep memories when you're sitting there, when it's first day of practice and they're like, all right, we'll run, blah blah blah, and then you go,
what am I doing
what
on
was
that play?
Yeah, yeah. So you're not just getting baptized by fire, you
Right.
have a little recollection of what you're supposed to do out there or whatever. So, I mean, in the off season, you definitely try to stay sharp on everything that's going to happen during season as far as plays and stuff like that go.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Now, you guys did one was watching film. What was the other group doing while these guys are watching film? You said this.
There would be one doing like agility work, and then one in the weight room.
Oh, okay. Just a rotation that way, right, or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would change every week. That way, nobody would just be like, hey, we don't want to lift every day at the beginning for the entire time. So they would rotate it every week. They would just drop, and then, it'd change. So, like, say week 1, you were in the weight room first, you go to be on the field the next week first, and then that way it just keeps things fresh. That way you don't just go in like, well, here we go, watching film again for an hour. Or actually an hour and a half, I think is how long we watch film.
Oh, really?
Because we have to do offense and defense.
But you worked a job over this COVID break, too.
I did, and it was really fun.
Yeah, your dad told me about that. Go ahead and tell us.
Awesome first job experience.
This was your first job?
Yeah. First serious job, yeah.
Yeah. And what'd you do?
I say serious, it was under the table, but it was really fun.
Well, it's a job where a family member didn't get it for you, or you weren't working for a family member. It was an actual you're doing it.
Yeah, definitely had to go out. And
what was it?
I worked at a mower shop. Can I plug them on the podcast?
Plug them now and then plug them at the end.
Yeah.
Main Street Mower. If you have anything wrong with any lawn mowers, weed eaters, sometimes leaf blowers, if it's not nothing too bad, take it on down to Main Street Mower. They'll fix you up right. Shout out to Brad Leonardo. For better or for worse. Nah, but I love my job there.
You worked at the mower shop, and were you working on any mowers and stuff?
Yeah, every day.
Really?
Yes.
You got any advice, tips, or tricks? Any secret?
Take
it to Main Street Mower.
Yeah.
Well,
catcher, not a pitcher.
Tell how you got paid as far as what did you have to do? You earned money a certain way, right? You just didn't get paid hourly. You got paid.
Yeah, it's about the job, for sure.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I mean, it makes sense. You know,
Right.
I mean, like the shop's not making any money is if you're not making the shop money.
Right.
you have to fix things in order, for money to get circulated.
So if you work on something and you spend a bunch of time on it and it still doesn't work, you didn't get paid.
There it is. Yeah, that sucks.
Really?
That was part of it.
Did it
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, plenty of times I go out there and work all day, and then whatever I was working on wouldn't pan out, and I would just have to put it off for tomorrow, hope for the best.
Oh, okay. Well, you get to finish it and still get paid for that.
Yeah. It's like not like if you didn't finish it one day,
But not till you got it working.
Right, and you'd
Yeah.
rather get that machine going that day.
Yeah.
So you can start on the next machine the next, of course.
Yeah, you got to go one piece at a time. You can't get scattered out. It's too
So,
much.
I mean, you didn't have any of this kind of experience before, right?
No,
So
none. No, there's a video of my boss at the time, Brad, getting me to air up a rubber tire. He was like, "Go air that up," and
Solid rubber tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you didn't know how to do
a
it?
plastic tire. No,
There's
it was
no way-
plastic. It was like like a push mower, and he was sitting there recording
A
me.
solid rubber.
Yes, like
You're looking.
yeah,
Where's this video at?
on my phone right here.
It's not on Facebook or anything.
No, I think Brad might have posted to Facebook actually.
That's great. That's great.
Well, it was my second day, my
Yeah.
first or second, and I was like, getting told, go air this up.
Right.
I knew nothing at that point.
Right.
So I didn't think of it being a trick question at all. And he got me good. He was like, "Yeah,
Well,
go air up that plastic tire over there, Gavin."
Dude,
On that push road.
Everybody goes through it.
through that. I went
Everybody.
through it when I worked for Harbor Heating and Air, and Greg Cecil, he got me.
Mm-hmm.
We were putting a new air conditioning. It was an all new air conditioning for the grocery store in Tallahassee,
Oh yeah.
and it was hot. Okay, it was hot. And they had this little room in the back, like a storage room or whatever, and there was this great big piece of ductwork that was hanging down. I don't remember what it went to, but you could see the insulation was all in it, right?
Yeah.
And Greg was like, "Hey, I need you to climb up in that," right? And he
Yeah.
was just get that ladder right there and climb up in there, and I forget what he told me to do. So I went and got the ladder, right? And I'm thinking in my head, he's got to be kidding me. So I start climbing up there, and he starts laughing and all that. And of course, I didn't climb up in it, but
Yeah.
it would have not held me, I don't think. But then I would have got insulation all over me. But yeah, I went through the same thing. I was like, really? Everybody was laughing. Oh, so, yeah, the same. I have a similar type of story.
Mm-hmm.
And but no one would have ever known that story if I wouldn't have just told it. It was posted on social media. That's the difference between
Yeah.
Time.
Difference
the
in
times, right? Now you can't do anything without it getting caught on video.
I don't mind it. Honestly,
Right, right.
at first I was a little salty that I got played.
Were you?
Who's not going to be a little bit
Right.
salty? Like, wow.
Right.
Like,
I'm out here trying to do a job and you're doing this to me.
yeah, it's like if I get hustled at a flea market or something like that. Somebody's got on video like, this dude just paid $25 for a Pokemon card or something like that. And I'm standing there walking out happy,
Right.
or whatever. I'm going to feel, a little
Yeah.
mad about that.
Right.
But now I look back on it, it's funny.
Yeah.
Especially to think about how much I've learned about just mechanic type things in general from working there, like the valuable experience I've got. For one, working. For two, it was, I learned a lot about being a man. Like a man.
Right.
Like grown up stuff.
Manly stuff, yes.
Working at a shop, because it's sort of like edgy, to a certain extent. I wouldn't say edgy like I worked at a bar or anything like that. But I
Right.
mean, the types of people, that you have working on lawnmowers and stuff, they got a good grasp of what it's like to be a man, So it was
Right.
kind of neat learning all that different kind of stuff I didn't
Tell
have
him-
any knowledge about.
Tell him the story about the guy that you would loan him some money.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to use no names.
No, I won't use any names. It's a good, honestly, in hindsight, pretty good guy. Really nice to me and taught me a lot of lessons about, like I said, being a man. And long story short, I loaned this guy a few dollars, just
$3?
No, like I think I loaned him I don't even remember how much. I just loaned him some money.
20?
Yeah, something around there.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really raking it in at the shop, but the guy needed some lunch or something like that. So I
Okay.
loaned him some money, and he's a grown man. Like this guy's like not my age or anything. He's grown. And I loaned him some money, and I go about my day working, like every other day. And this was like later. I'd say this is like the midpoint of when I was working, so I didn't know as much as I know now, but I also didn't know very much. So I was like kind of frustrated I didn't get my project finished that day, I don't think. And all I could think about was, I want my money back now. You know, I just worked all day on this project. It didn't turn out. I need the money right now.
And this was the same day?
Yeah.
You loaned
this
it
is
to
later
him?
later that day. Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting paid.
This is a funny story already.
Yeah.
Maybe is it a
So,
funny story?
It's funny.
It's
I mean,
funny to me because I'm looking at your face, and that's very funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry. It was for my own satisfaction there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. But, so I'm pretty upset. I didn't get my project finished, and I'm not getting paid as very much. I mean, he would give us a little bit. You know, we usually didn't walk out empty-handed. He's a good guy for that. You know, even when he helped me. He was kind of my safety blanket at the beginning, making sure I didn't go home broke after being there for 8 hours and helping and doing all this different stuff. Good guy for that. But
Your boss.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This guy was not your boss, so you loaned the money to him.
No, not the boss.
I was hoping not. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, so the guy I loaned the money to, he gets paid, takes the money off the desk, and walks right out. And I have not as much money as that guy had walking out. So I was like, dude, what? I loaned you money. I want the money. So as he's walking out the door,
in front of everybody.
as he's walking out the door with the money that he just earned, and I'm sitting there with however much I had, which wasn't near as much. I was like, hey man, you gonna pay me for earlier today? And he goes, why would you say that in front of everybody? And my boss goes, yeah, why would you say that in front of everybody? I was like, what? I was like, I just wanted my money. And he's like, come outside. And I was like, is this dude gonna like beat me up or something? And so we walk outside, you know, and he's just like, listen, man, I'm going to teach you, you know, a lesson. It's an unspoken rule. I learned a lot of unspoken rules about how to, you know, business and
Deal with people.
Yeah.
And the public and
yeah, and I learned that day.
your
you know,
coworkers.
Yeah, you don't bring things
Money
like that up. Yeah, money. It's sort of like the religion and politics thing. But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, if you got food on your face, it'd be like tapping somebody on the shoulder and be like, hey, yo, you got food on your face. Instead of going, hey, everybody, this guy's got food on his face right here in the middle of a restaurant, you know. So I mean, it's just one of those things.
Was there a lot of people in the building?
No, but
Oh,
it was a good lesson because
Right.
it would be embarrassing, you know. Like let's say I was going through some hard times, right, and I
Right.
needed some money to make ends meet, and this guy, you know, is telling everybody, you know, such and such owes me $500 or whatever, and
I kept
look
Gavin out of
broke.
the poorhouse.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you think you've taught your son everything, there's just certain things you know
just
what I
have to
mean?
do to
that you
learn.
have to be. There's certain situations that you have to be in
Well, here's
to
the-
learn from them.
There's some very specific things that honestly that I've left out on purpose because things like that right
Right.
there, you can't. I can't explain that to him.
Right.
He won't hear it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you have
Well,
to be.
there's always something to be to learn.
Well,
You know,
there's
there's always something to learn.
That's the thing about him being a grown guy now is
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole world full of things that I haven't taught him, and some of them on purpose, not to put him in a bad spot, but you learn things when you learn them like that, he'll never forget that.
right.
One of these days when he's 50 years old, that'll roll through his, and when he thinks about calling somebody out about something, it'll roll through his mind. I know it does for me. I've learned a lot of lessons that way, the hard way or whatever. And that's the thing about it is, and a lot of people have said that to me. Why don't you teach him how to mechanic? Why don't you teach him how to blah blah blah? Do a lot of these things. And it's not that I didn't want to teach him some of that stuff. It's like some of that stuff you don't learn from your dad. You know what I mean? You don't learn from your parents. There's some things that you've got to learn on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the mower shop thing was, I don't care how much money he made. I don't care if he made a dime. It was invaluable.
Right.
As a lesson, you know what I mean? And you can ask Gavin, I mean, he's going to get to the mower shop. You know what I mean? I mean, those things they can't put a price tag on that.
Right.
You know, I mean, and I don't know Brad well or anything like that, but, you know, for whatever setup it is down there, and I didn't get into it. You know, I don't go down there and how's Gavin doing down here? I didn't do any of that. You know what I mean? This is Gavin's thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As a guy, I wanted it to be his thing. You know, the older he gets, the more it's that way. You know, I'm like, I need him to take off. You know what I mean? Everything's been leading up to this.
Right.
You know, it's that whole roots and wings thing. My mom had something hanging on the wall most of my life. And it says the two most important things you can give your child is roots and wings. And as a kid, I was like, huh? You know, what? It seems like an oxymoron. But then as I got old enough to have kids, I'm like, aha, I get it. And so he's earning his wings. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's kind of corny, but I'm just saying that stuff is neat. You know, I mean, and like you said, I mean, I try to teach them all kinds of stuff, but I'm more along the lines of trying to teach them, how would I say it? Those kind of life lessons, it's hard for me to show them. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because they're just going to hear me tell these old stories.
You
know?
don't ever think to teach your son that anyways. You know, it's not like, oh, by the way, if you loan a guy money, don't say it in front of everybody.
Well, and that's, the cool thing about learning a thing like that is, you get this feel for what he's going to be like as a man. Because I didn't tell him, hey, if somebody asks you to loan some money, loan them the money. I don't have to say that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He did it.
And that's what makes me feel good about it is it was something that he did that was good. He's not wrong for wanting his money back. He learned how to speak up for himself. He's not afraid to speak up for himself because he did it.
Well, what I think what's great about it is when he learned from it.
Yes.
And he didn't say, no, F that. I want my dang money, and I'm going to call you out every time.
Yeah.
So that's awesome because I think that may have been me when I was a kid.
I'm not trying to raise a hustler.
I may have been.
You know what I'm saying? No, it ain't. It
Don't
ain't.
pull me out to the side, bruh.
I'll loan you 20, but you owe me 22. You know what I mean? No, we're not them people.
Right. No.
But there again, money is something that, without trying to devalue money totally, I've always placed a higher emphasis on relationships instead of money. I mean, that's something that I've always been careful to try to show both of my boys is, yes, money is a thing. Money, you do have to have it and those kind of things like that, but it don't have to be everything.
Right.
You can, success, the definition of success is up to the individual, man. I mean, I've known plenty of people that I would have been like, ooh, how do you live like that? And they're fine with it. And I'm sure people look at the way I live and say the same. I bet when people drive by and see my lawn, they're like, come on. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, well, I'm good with it, man. It's hot outside. What? So, but,
So from working at the mower shop, it's like a lifelong trade that you'll always have because from now on, you'll never have to take your mower to the shop. For the most part.
Well, it's sort of like working on cars, I guess. You could say the same thing.
They get harder and harder to work on.
100%. There's certain things on those.
But certain like little things, like you got to address adjust the throttle, or
you'd be surprised changing your oil for some people,
right,
and sharpening your blades,
cleaning the air filter.
Yeah,
right.
Now it's one of those things where before I definitely couldn't have done it.
Right.
I've been like, do what? What am I taking off? And now I know, when I approach whatever mower it is, not necessarily zero turns. I never really got to learn much about those.
Really?
All I did with those was just take stuff off and put it back and fix it and put it back on. I never really broke it down as far as the motor goes. It's a lot more complex than all the other ones. But just about everything else, I learned a great deal about, a lot about.
But you're using ratchets and sockets and
Oh, yeah.
screwdrivers and all the blah, blah,
Every day.
the blahs, yeah. Yeah, that kind of stuff. See, that was cool. I got to kind of sit back and that was everything good about that situation. You know what I mean? That's why I brought it up.
Well, even in hindsight, yeah, I think all of it was good for sure.
Yeah.
Experience, the people I met, the laughs I've had,
All the
hard
different
days.
kinds of people that you met.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just some of the stories that you told me. I mean, that you met people from every walk of life.
Every single one of them, literally from rags to riches in this town. All of them.
Yeah.
From top to bottom.
Yeah, it's a cool experience.
It was cool.
And that's one of the things we talk about Gavin. He's always trying to pick something up. I mean, I like it. It's one of those things that I've always, when they were real young, I always worried about dying before they got older because I was like, I want them to be able to, handle their life. I want to teach them these things, And with Gavin, I'm feeling comfortable enough now. Not that I want to die, but I have I'm getting to this point where I'm like, whew, I could die and I wouldn't feel bad when I'm dying because he's going to be fine, So, yeah, it's exciting, man. Every conversation you can ask Gavin, I'm getting worse. Like the closer it's getting to senior year starting and all that, it's like everything's turning into the philosophical, long drawn out everything.
Deep thinking.
Conversations are getting longer.
Yeah, for sure.
So, do you think when he graduates, at graduation, you're going to cry?
Yeah.
Okay.
100, dude. I know it. It's not that I want to. I'm not sitting here waiting, like,
I gotta let
I
it
can
go.
finally cry. I just, but, and I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if I will or not. I'll have to wait and see. But I mean, it'll definitely feel like this is the culmination. I mean, it's like there's these times in your life where you can tell, all this happened, and this is the pinnacle of it. You know what I mean? It's over at this part, which we're always going to have a relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like I'm never going to see him again. Oh, it's 18. See you never, see you on the other side or whatever. But I mean, and he's, I wouldn't say he's a grown man in that he knows everything he needs to know or anything, but, I feel good about him being able to go on. He's expressed willingness to go on and start his life. I mean, he's looking forward to college and going and doing that stuff. So, and I'm hyped about it for him. Like I said, that's what's supposed to happen. I mean, when I tell that to like my parents, they're like, well, you gonna kick him out when he turns 18? I'm like, well, no, I'm not gonna kick him out, but I mean, he wants to go, and he's supposed to want to go. You know what I mean? And I'm supposed to be sad about it, but it's not supposed to make a shit. You know what I mean? It's not my life. I've lived mine. It's him getting to do his thing. So now on that end of it, I mean, yeah, I'll be sad for me. I'd be like, oh, well, he's not a little boy anymore. I mean, I had a trippy ass dream about him.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Here a couple months ago, dude. It jacked me up. Yeah, because everybody hates to hear about dreams, but I'll be quick. I was talking to him in my head, and then I turn a corner, and he's 4 years old, just sitting there playing with toys, and he's 4 years. I remember exactly what he looked like. Right now, I can see him in my head when he's 4. I know exactly what he looked like, and that's what he's doing. He's just sitting there playing in my dream. He's playing with toys. He's just a baby.
Dude, that is trippy.
And we're still talking inside my head. I'm like, oh, you're going back to being a boy? And he's like, yeah, just for a little while. Dude, I couldn't even hardly tell him about it.
I just got
I
chills.
started getting choked up.
I just got chills.
Well, you know what
For
I mean?
real.
Like, it was what I had to tell him.
I was not expecting that dream at all.
Dude, I don't know where it
Well,
came
I'm
from.
sure you weren't either.
Well, it ain't like we had a big long talk before I went to bed that night or anything. I went to bed
was
like
just
any
the
other
other
night,
night, yeah.
and it was just. But it's one of the things I think I'm coming to terms with. Here it is or whatever, and it doesn't feel final to me. I'm excited.
Well, like you said, the only thing that's going to change possibly is he's going to move out. And you're still going to have a relationship with him. You're still going to see him, I'm sure, all the time. It's not you're.
Well, just like you do with Kaysen. You post a lot of things and a lot of the hashtags and stuff you use. These are the days and those kind of things like that.
And that's the damn truth.
Because you're trying to soak it up, man. You're
Right.
living in it.
Yes.
You're recognize the moment for what it
Yeah.
is. I did that. You know what I mean? I mean, 100%. I did it. I'm talking about. We lived it. That's why football's such a big deal to me, because it was even whenever he was living with his mom all the time. It was what we had in common. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
always, we got to do that together. We could do anything connected to it. We got to do that.
Well, what's crazy to me and what gave me the chills, I think, is because, you and I became, I don't know, friends about 10 years ago, right? I'm guessing somewhere in there.
A little bit longer. Well,
A little bit longer.
probably about
Well,
10 years ago.
I was around when Gavin was getting involved in football, and here he is, and he was, younger than Kaysen now, and it seems like yesterday you and I were having these conversations on. Like, I was like, hey, man, I'm going to the Tulsa, or I'm going to Muskogee. And you're like, no, we got football practice. And I was thinking, because at the time, the way I grew up, parents dropped their kids off at practice. Parents weren't really involved.
Yeah, didn't stick around. Yeah,
Right. And it's not that it's not anything bad about, how my mom was, or because, of course my dad wasn't around, but that's just what you did. Every parent did. They dropped kids off, and the coaches coached. There was no really, parents sitting in lawn chairs watching kids.
Yeah.
Or
it is a little off-putting. I was to me when I was a little kid, for
Right.
sure. And people don't do it now that I'm in high school, because obviously, the coaches are on payroll. Like, they need to be known. But even little kid
Well,
ball.
Gavin got to a point, though, see, whenever he got into junior high, I didn't miss practices.
I know.
I haven't.
That's what I'm saying. And
I haven't missed very many games. I'm talking about a few basketball games and probably how many football games have I missed? Maybe 2.
I don't know.
I can
Not
think
many.
of one for sure since you've been in high school. I did miss one game when you were a sophomore or freshman. Anyway, I was not happy. Everybody paid the price. My boss, everybody.
well, you're not happy last year when you almost missed that one.
Oh, dude. Yeah, they don't like
Wasn't that
it.
Bishop Kelly? The one that
it
you
was a
almost
home
missed?
game.
Oh, it was home.
I don't remember who it was now. Yeah, dude. It was
a
it's
big
thing.
game.
It's a thing.
It was one of your last games.
I let these guys know, hey, I understand that I've got a job to do, but I'm not
Right.
I'm not missing this for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
not missing these things. And that's my point about what I was saying about, how you're living in the moment of it. And it's very, very, very important to me. I can't explain why, dude. Nobody said, hey, you need to try to make Gavin's games. Gavin never said, hey, I want you to be at all my practices. I don't know where it come from. All I know is that the only thing I could ever think about was he's going to be doing something and I want to watch him do it.
Right.
I don't know where, like I said, my parents weren't that way. I mean, my dad helped coach whenever we played coach pitch and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as like once I got into junior high, my dad didn't see me play a football game.
We never did. I mean, none of my parents really ever had to do any help in any coach pitch. It seemed like we always had a coach.
Right.
But what I was getting at was, Kaysen was too small to be in sports
Right.
at the time that Gavin was, getting involved. Of course, he's way younger. And so I've seen that happen. And here we are in Gavin's last season of high school football. And so when you tell the dream, I'm just like, I remember when you were little, like it was yesterday. And I remember when my own son was little, like it was yesterday. And then right like today, we got the football out and started throwing it around because we're about to start football.
Yeah. I remember.
And just finished baseball a couple days ago. So, I took his bat bag out of the car, when we got back from
Dude,
state.
and as hard as you're concentrating on it, and I know you do great, dude. I got no, as hard as it's gonna. The next thing you know,
I know
you'll be where I am.
I know.
You know what I mean? And it's
I know. like I wish I wouldn't have been friends with a guy with a kid that's older than my kid because I can see I'm following in the same footsteps.
Yeah.
I'm doing the exact same thing. Because I remember I'd say, hey, you want to go to Muskogee or I got to go to Tulsa to shop or whatever. I don't remember. And LJ was like, no, he wasn't like, no, dude. I'm not. He's like, oh, we got practice tonight. And I was thinking because I didn't know.
What the hell?
You never
I was
referenced,
like, Can someone else drop him off at practice? So I wasn't trying to say don't be involved in your son's life.
You were still, yeah.
But I didn't know how involved it was as a dad.
You can't until you're doing it,
right?
You know, what I mean,
exactly.
it's well, and I had no background in it.
And it's not like I'm thinking I'm following in the same footsteps, but it's not like I'm thinking, well, LJ did it, I got to do it too. It's a natural.
Right.
It's very natural for me to. I mean, it's
Want to make it. Yeah.
Want to be there.
Well, I've told Gavin
so I help
this.
coach and all of his stuff except basketball. Not really, a little bit, but not really. But
Well,
I'm there. I'm at every practice.
Word.
I'm at every game.
I plan on doing the same.
And it's
Well, and
yeah.
even if you're not coaching, it's a funny thing about one thing that I always wanted to do was no matter what, I remember, and I don't fault my parents. Don't get me wrong. I just remember thinking as a kid, like when we would go play. I remember we played Conowall whenever I was a kid in Bow Legs, right? And I was in 5th or 6th grade to play basketball. And I remember going, it was the middle of the day. No parents could go to this game. It was like at 11 o'clock in the morning. But we went to play a basketball game, and we walked into this gym to play, and there was nobody there. My parents weren't there. And I remember thinking, I wish I had somebody to watch me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
like I said, now I don't sit here and go, my mom and dad didn't watch me play ball. No, I just remember thinking that, and I always
Remember that
thought,
feeling.
man, if I get a kid that plays ball, I want to make sure that he looks up at them stands and he at least knows that somebody has got his back. If he gets hurt, if he wins, if he loses, if he screws up, if he does great, I saw it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and it was that way from the moment I saw him born. I was there the minute he took his first breath. I've seen him. you know, and I knew it was one of them things, dude. Like you said, it is a natural part of me. I'm not going for dad of the year. I really ain't. Or
Right,
dad
right.
I ain't trying to be anything. I am just
No dad collades.
this way. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know why. I can't explain it. Gavin got on to me. That's what I was going to say a minute ago. When he was in junior high, well, he got a school coach. Mullins was
Yep.
his coach, you know, and so in 7th grade he starts having practices. Well, I come after work and I set my work truck